Welcome everybody to another episode of Sang Lucci TV. I am Charlie, the professor, as you guys know me, and sitting to my right is, of course, Anand Sangvi, also known as Sang Lucci, and we have a special guest here with us today, who is the winner of our Neuroscience of Trading contest, even beating out the professionals that you see to my right, which is pretty funny. Clayton, say hello to everybody.
Hey everyone.
So yeah, guys, you know, for those of you who do not know, Sang Lucci teamed up with a company called TrueBrain at the end of April, and for a week we had over 25 traders in Los Angeles. Some were flying in from, we had a couple from Mexico, a couple from Canada, guys coming in from all over the country. Clayton, you flew down from San Francisco, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right, and the purpose of them flying in was they were coming in to have their heads have EEG scanners hooked up to their heads and have their brain waves monitored while they traded, right? And we were testing to see whether this neurotropic supplement TrueBrain could actually enhance or affect their trading. And we were also testing to see what happens inside the brain of a trader while they trade, how that activity is different from normal neurological activity. So everyone had a baseline measurement of what they're like normally, and then obviously monitored them while they traded. And in order to make it as true to life as possible, we didn't have the budget to be able to have EEG scanners on 25 different people trading at the exact same time.
How much was it? How much was it? Just to throw it out there.
Just for what we did?
Yeah, just the machine. I mean, just to rent the machine.
Oh, just to rent these machines, it's like, I think it's like $3,000 a day for each. Between the two of them. So 15. Actually, no. Sorry, it's like $5,000 a day.
Right.
But because Dr. Hill, who is the neuroscientist who was running the experiment, he's got his PhD, he has the hookups, he knows people. They got huge discounts for us. So I mean, all in all, I think between TrueBrain and us, we spent like 15 to 20 grand just on the equipment, and that was that's at a steep discount. So anyways, what we the purpose of the whole thing was to see what goes on in the mind of a trader, right? And we had to, as much as possible, recreate true conditions, like real trading conditions, even though these guys were trading on simulator. So we created a big competitive environment in there, and everyone was very incentivized to win and to trade as best as possible. As you can see, Clayton is the guy who actually came out on top, and then there was also punishments for people who who didn't trade as well. So
most people wanted to just beat us.
Yeah, most people just wanted to beat.
Most people just came and.
Most people just wanted to either beat the pros or they wanted to avoid shame. Like a lot of guys who were sitting down, it was one of two things. They were like, I'm either going to win this whole thing or I'm going to get dead last. Or, which is what Brian and Lucci and some of those guys were thinking, Kunal too. Or they were like, I just want to get like 15th. I just don't want to be embarrassed because I know this is going to be published, and yeah, so they were trying not to screw up. So, anyways, Clayton, we were just talking off air about this, which is really cool. You were also a part of the State of Trading panel conferences that we had in Los Angeles. You came and saw those, so you saw us speak on high-frequency trading and market structure and stuff like that, and then you saw the second panel, which was on trading psychology and behavior management and trading systems, and especially during the second panel, you asked a lot of very, very good questions about trading psychology. It's very clear that you have trading experience. This is not just, you're not just waking up, rolling out of bed, and starting to think about this stuff. You've put a lot of thought and experience into this, and so it's obviously not a coincidence that the guy who asked the best questions about trading psychology, won the neuroscience experiment, right? So, congrats to you for taking first place, for beating these guys. It's a very cool honor for you to have.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man. I mean, how long you've been trading, and then all that kind of stuff, man. Where'd you start? Why'd you start? All that stuff, man.
So I've been trading about 14 years. I started just, I think like a lot of people, like, hey, I think this stuff looks easy, it looks cool, I can make lots of money and have a lot of freedom and do whatever the heck I want. But what I learned along the way is this is hardest job I think one can ever have.
Well, why is that? And why is that, man?
Well, it's the mental game. It's the psychological game, right? And that's what drew me to this experiment in the first place. It's like, wow, this is an opportunity to get my brain scanned and to learn about, my brain specifically, but just also all about the neuroscience. Because there's just been so many discoveries in neuroscience in the last decade or so, with all the prevalence of brain scans, and a lot about the behavioral finance and kind of decision making under uncertainty that we traders deal with every single second. And so the experiment excited me, and when I saw it, I just said, hey, I gotta sign up for this and give it a shot.
Cool. When do you think you got over the learning curve? When was it that you figured out, it was a mental game? When did you sort of beat the mental game enough that you could start making money? I mean, when did that happen?
Well, I'd say probably I've been really working on my mental game for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
It was just like a long struggle up to that point, and I'm still learning. It's being consistently profitable it's still I'm not quite there. It's like something I'm working on every single day, and but I would say that for the last 2.5 years I've really been focused. Working with people like Denise Scholl, with Andrew Menaker, who was part of the experiment.
Right.
Following Dr. Brett Steenbarger, these three are, some of the top people, and I'm always trying to learn, from them.
Right.
Yeah, those guys, they kind of have a little, they all work together and have a little trio: Denise Scholl, Brett Steenbarger, and Dr. Menaker. So.
So what did he win? Tell them all what he won. What did he win?
Dude, you won a lot, Clayton. You won free access to the Sang Lucci boot camp, which is now 14 days long. So that's like a roughly $2,500 value. You won a free hour consultation with Dr. Andrew Menaker, who, as you said, is the trading psychologist and coach that was part of the State of Trading event.
He actually stuck around at the party for a long time.
He's a cool dude, man.
Clayton, were you? I don't even remember seeing Clayton at the party. Clayton, were you at the party?
No, unfortunately, I had a flight to catch, so I had to book out of there.
That's the best part of the whole week, man.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised. You'd figure, doctors, right? Dr. Andrew Menaker, right? Would hang around at a party with a bunch of Neanderthals for a couple hours.
No, man. Apparently, he grew up, in L.A. He was part of that skateboarding crew, like the Dogstown.
Oh, really?
I'm told Menaker's probably watching this. Andrew, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your life story right now. But long story short, he's really cool. So
he was. He really was. I was impressed. I was like, all right.
Yeah, all right. The doc's got some personality, man. So you won that. You won a free hour of consult with Dr. Andrew Hill, who's different than Menaker, who is the neuroscientist. That, Clayton, I really want to talk to you about what he's able to tell you about your brain, what's unique about your brain as a result of your scans. What else? 6 months free access, I think, to the private chat room instead of the public one.
Right.
Obviously, you get the video interview. You get lifelong bragging rights. Probably the best thing, just to look at all the guys here.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Clayton, I want you to walk us through your experience just with the neuroscience experiment, right? Paint the picture for what it was like for all the people that weren't there. How did this thing go for you when you actually got to LA and you started going through the experiment?
So basically, we show up at Andrew Hill's offices, and there's a couple of computers, trading stations set up, and a couple of other computers that are tied into these skull cap type things, right? So they told me that there are 70 electrodes on each of those caps, and so you strap this thing on, and you've got all these electrodes that are plastered all over your forehead, the top of your head, all the way to the back of your head, and then they have to inject all this electrolyte, this type of gel that allows a good electrical contact between the scalp and the electrodes.
Right, and to qualify, we're not injecting it into the skull. We're just into sort of the implant right there. So yeah.
Mini lobotomy. Yeah. So you strap the cap on, and you get all the electrical connections right, and that takes 15-20 minutes to set everything up, and then we were given 2 sessions, 45 minutes each, where we were trading on a simulator. It was a day in 2012, and so that kind of threw me initially because I was like, what am I going to trade? Hey, Facebook, Tesla. Oh, no Tesla, no Facebook. Okay, what the heck was hot back in 2012? And,
yeah.
I thought, okay, Apple.
That's what everyone's like Apple, man. I'm just gonna go to Apple.
Everyone went with Apple.
Yeah, but Netflix, that one I stumbled upon it, and also I was thinking, well, what tends to move in the morning? Because when we got there in the first session, it was the opening, it was at 9:30 Eastern time, and I said, well, Citibank, that's one of those stocks that tends to move a bit and has tight spreads on the options. So I was trying to trade some of that stuff in the SPYs, but my platform was all wonky. It was too slow because I opened up too many windows, and I got all frustrated and flustered, and
which will show you a neurological scan too. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, tried to trade some oil futures, and anyway. So the first day I actually really sucked, and so I walked away and said, okay, what am I going to do, for the second session? So a couple days later, we went in for a second session, and I think part of the experiment was to test our brain on, the nootropic stack and the brain without it. And so, there are some differences in that during the 2 days. So the second day, we were, it was actually the subsequent day. It was in 2012, and I noticed that Netflix would move in the previous day, so I was like really honed in on Netflix for that second session, and luckily for me, it moved, right? It moved really well, and so I was able to nail some stuff there.
Nice. Do we know if we got the placebo or we got the? Do we know that yet?
Not yet.
We don't know that.
Not yet.
All right.
Eric has that stuff.
He doesn't. He has it basically tagged to like their identification numbers, right? But not to their names. So, one of the things that's been cool, but also at the same time frustrating, is we got a ton of data out of this. Like they were saying that there was 55 gigabytes worth of just neurological scans that came out of this. There's two teams essentially that were running this whole thing. There was the neuroscience experiment, and then Clayton, we'll have you talk a little bit about the psychology experiment that took place afterwards. So they're basically unpacking the data as fast as they can. So we'll have more information coming out about, really the conclusions that we can draw from the studies. Yeah, but Clayton, you caught that Netflix move, and that seemed to be like that was the move. That's what all the guys who did well that they somehow found it, and a lot of guys who were trying to trade something else.
Yeah, I was trading. I traded the SPY like the first day. I was just messing around with the SPY because I was like, I couldn't run any scans, and I wasn't going to hop around anywhere, so I was like, all right, let me just trade SPY. And Clayton, I was throwing around 1,000 lots, like calls and puts.
Oh yeah.
And the market was just so choppy, so I was getting my ass handed to me, and then finally I stumbled upon Netflix, bought 500 contracts, and then made it all back, and I was flat by the end of the day.
That sounds like a standard day, though. I mean, I don't know.
That's what happened to me.
Clayton, talk to me about, so then, you would do your run through the experiment with your actual trading. Tell these guys what happened after that. There was an extra component to the study. Tell them what happened then.
So afterwards, there were these surveys, and they were intended to, I guess, gather information on how we perceive risk and kind of our biases, right? And so, the concepts like, would you rather have a sure gain right now or a slightly larger gain a week from now, but you have to wait for a week? Or you're guaranteed, like $50 now, or you can roll the dice and you have an 80% chance of getting, say $100. So.
And there's literally a die there, guys, that we were rolling for people. And there's cash on hand. There was PayPal payments that are actually still going out to this day. We got to get reimbursed for that, for the researchers, by the way. I just remembered. Clayton's right. The point was to assess perception of risk perception, risk appetite, how that could be correlated with trading.
Out of curiosity, and Clayton, you don't have to answer this because, again, it's you take a test like that, you feel I felt violated.
You feel violated.
I felt violated after I was done with that test.
Everybody walks out of that test just feeling like,
I did. I didn't know
I don't know
how
what to say
I didn't
right
know
now.
I didn't know how to feel about myself. But were you generally like the risky guy? Like, were you all like, no, 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 and then the last one, it was like enough money for you to be like, all right,
That's a good question.
Let me just take the easy money. So were you gambling all the way until the last one, or were you just gambling all?
Actually, no. You know, when it came to the trading simulated trading experiment, that was like, you know, all in. I'm either going to come in first or come in last. I just going to be all in.
Word.
But on the survey part, I think I was much more concerned. I was actually like doing the math. I was like, hey, you know, the expected return, if I get 60% chance of getting $30 versus, you know, 100% chance of getting $24. You know, so I was actually sitting there doing the math.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And a lot of the guys said that they felt. See, I actually wasn't involved in the design of this part of the study. I knew what it was going for, but I didn't actually do the design of it. And what the researchers said was that they were looking for, you know, the base of their research is, do people act rationally, right? And so much evidence shows that they don't act rationally. And part of what I think they were doing is they were putting time constraints on there such that most people couldn't do the math.
Right.
To calculate the odds, right? They wanted people to be, I think, forced to make mental, you know, sort of gut calculations without being able to go through the numbers. So, Clayton, maybe you were just fast at doing the math, or, you know, I think a lot of people were just like, okay.
Oh no, some of those timed out on me, and you know, they said, oh, time's up, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I found fascinating too was that, you know, I've read about all these kinds of studies, and to actually participate in one, that was kind of cool.
Right. And, you know, we're not allowed yet to disclose who actually designed that part of the study, but the guy and his research partner who did it are as top as it gets. I mean, we were blown away that they wanted to be involved. So you really did get to participate in the cutting edge, top of the line sort of research that's going on there. So that was cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
Roy said something interesting. Roy said something interesting on those questions. It was like, yeah, you had the 30-second window.
And it got timed out.
But you knew the answer, but you got timed down. So it was like whoever administered the test doesn't know that you got this. They doesn't know that you knew it. You know what I mean? Like they didn't know that you know what the hell you're talking about.
Knowing who it is, knowing who this guy is, I have confidence that everything that was involved in that thing was on purpose.
Yeah.
That's usually the mark of a good experiment. But, you know, technology has glitches sometimes. So, Clayton, you were also there for the State of Trading, right? And that was the first time we've ever done it. You know, we had a small, intimate group, and you were one of the people there. Tell everybody a little bit about, you know, it was a long 5.5-hour thing. Tell people, like, you know, the top 2 or 3 memories that you had of looking back on that, and what the biggest takeaways you had walking away from that.
Well, I think the whole event was just really awesome. You had such top people there sharing their knowledge and experience. So the first panel was on high-frequency trading and all of the games that, you know, brokers play with the retail guys. And I learned a lot there. I mean, part of it's just scary because if you're trading with a retail broker at the retail level, there's not a whole lot you can do. These people are gaming you left and right. So that actually makes the second part, the trading psychology, even more important, because if you can master the mental game, then, you know, hey, these people are going to be skimming you no matter what you do. You got to get the mental game right so that you have an edge, right? And that other stuff becomes much secondary. So the second panel, you know, there was Roy Davis, Sang Lucci, Kunal from Bulls on Wall Street, Andrew Menaker. Who else was there?
I was moderating.
Oh yeah, Charlie was a moderator. Yeah, and it was just really cool to hear from successful traders. You know, like Sang Lucci and Kunal, about and not only as traders but also as teachers and what they noticed in their students. Right. I think a lot of the value I got out was, what does success look like for these guys and also for their students? Because one of the things that definitely came out loud and clear is, you know, we're all unique and we have to find our own niche and our own, you know, time frame, whatever vehicle we're trading, you know, all these things we have to figure out. And to be able to hear all that firsthand was really cool. And then the other part that was also really awesome was Kunal and Andrew Menaker. They work together, right? Andrew is Kunal's coach, and to kind of get a glimpse into that relationship and the type of work that they did together and the type of insights that Kunal developed along the way, that was also really cool.
Nice. Cool. Well, what you got, like we said, you won free access to the boot camp. You've had pretty good access to these guys so far. You were able to talk to. I know you were able to talk to Roy in person, for a bit about sort of trading systems and behavioral management after the panels, and talk to these guys as well. Now that you have sort of unlimited access via the boot camp, what do you feel like you're coming in and really trying to focus in on? Like, what is the thing, the leak in your trading that you're trying to plug?
Well, since coming back from LA, I've already signed up for TraderView and have really just started to crunch my numbers because I hadn't done that before. It's kind of one of those things that's always in the back of your mind. You should do it, but that was something they talked about in the panel. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to stop procrastinating on that. I'm just gonna get started on that, and I've already started to discover some things about my results and my statistics, and so that part's really cool. Actually, I'm really excited about the boot camp because I don't trade options much. I'm actually much more of an equities trader.
Oh man!
And to be able to be a part of the next boot camp, which is like in a couple weeks, I think it starts.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
All right, so I get to learn a lot more about options trading from Sang Lucci and really add another piece to my toolkit. So that's another thing I'm really excited about.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, Clayton, I don't think we have too much more for you, man. We're very happy to have you involved, and we said it after the panel, but we do really appreciate you being so committed to the whole thing, the neuroscience experiment, flying down there, asking the questions that you asked, investing yourself in this. It makes it very cool for us. A lot of work goes into that kind of stuff, and when people are so invested in it, it makes us realize that it's worth the time and the effort. So we really appreciate that on your end, man.
Hey, win-win situation, guys. Thanks so much for putting this on and having me be a part of it, because I learned so much, and I'm going to learn a lot more. So.
You're damn right.
Awesome.
Boot camp, baby.
Awesome, Clayton. Well, I'll see you in the boot camp, man. I will see you soon in boot camp.
All right.
Congrats again, man. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Take care.